Eliza and Henrietta Huszti were 32-year-old Hungarian nationals. They had lived in Aberdeen, Scotland for nearly a decade. The sisters were part of a set of triplets. Their third sibling remained in Hungary. Eliza and Henrietta lived together in a fourth-floor flat on D Street close to the River Dee. Both worked as cleaners and lived quietly. They were known for being private, frugal, and cautious. According to family, they had no history of mental illness, no legal issues, and no known enemies. Their long-term goal was to save money and eventually buy a home. On January 6, 2025, they were seen on CCTV at 2:50 p.m. The footage showed them calmly walking across Victoria Bridge. They stopped briefly at a footpath next to the River Dee. They stayed there for around 5 minutes before returning to their flat. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary. They weren't being followed. Their movements were relaxed. There were no signs of distress or urgency. Later that same night, in the early hours of January 7th, they went out again. At 2:12 a.m., they were captured once more by CCTV. This time, they were walking along Market Street before crossing Victoria Bridge again. The footage showed them heading down a footpath that runs directly alongside the river toward the Aberdeen Boat Club. Shortly before or during this walk, Henrietta's phone sent a text message to their landlady. The message said they would not be returning to the flat. Once later, the phone lost all signal and disconnected from the mobile network. It was never turned back on. Later that morning, when the sisters didn't return, their landlady grew concerned. She visited the flat. Everything was in order. Nothing was packed. Their belongings were untouched. Their beds were neatly made. Phones, chargers, and laptops were left behind. There was no note, no sign of a plan to leave, just the text message. She contacted the police. Eliza and Henrietta were officially reported missing. Police Scotland launched an investigation that same day. Officers began reviewing CCTV footage from the city center, especially near the River Dee. Missing person posters were circulated. Divers were deployed to search the river. The water was cold and the current was strong. Visibility was poor. The area along the riverbank includes paths, trees, and dense foliage in some sections. Specialized sonar equipment was brought in. Police boats searched between Victoria Bridge and the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. Helicopters scanned the area from above. Search dogs combed the surrounding woods and undergrowth. No belongings were found near the river path. No footprints, clothing, or dropped items. No third person appeared in any of the CCTV clips. According to investigators, there was no indication of anyone following the women. Their flat showed no signs of forced entry. Nothing was missing. All forensic experts examined their phones and laptops. The message sent from Henrietta's phone was short. Police did not publicly release the full text, but confirmed it was brief and direct. No further messages were sent to friends, family, or co-workers. For weeks, the case remained open with no confirmed sightings. The river remained the focus of the investigation. Then, on January 31st, 2025, 24 days after the sisters vanished, a body was recovered from the River Dee. It was found near the Queen Elizabeth Bridge by a passerby. Police were called to the scene that evening around 9 p.m. A second body was located closer to Victoria Bridge. Both were recovered and taken for formal identification. They were confirmed to be Eliza and Henrietta Huszti. Post-mortem examinations concluded that both women had drowned. Toxicology results were not made public. According to authorities, there were no external injuries, no signs of struggle or trauma. Police stated that there was no evidence of suspicious circumstances. The case was closed without any criminal investigation. But the family had questions. Speaking to the Hungarian media, Their brother, Huszti, said the message sent from Henrietta's phone didn't sound like them. He said the tone was unusual. He also pointed out that the sisters were in regular contact with their mother and had made no mention of any problems. He questioned why they would go walking near the river at 2 a.m. In January, he noted that they had left behind all their personal belongings, including money and identification. He said there were no signs of depression and no indication they planned to harm themselves. He also said the two were extremely close, and he did not believe one would act without the other. Some residents near the river claimed they heard screams on the night of January 7th, but police did not confirm whether those reports were verified. The case drew attention on social media and in local news outlets. Some questioned whether the case had been closed too quickly. Others asked whether more should have been done to trace their final movements. Mental health experts pointed out that not all suicides involve planning, and many happened without warning. Police emphasized that all evidence pointed to the conclusion that the sisters had entered the water voluntarily. Still, the family disagreed. They believed more questions needed to be asked. Why walk into the night toward the river with no apparent reason? Why only send a message to the landlady? Why was the phone disconnected immediately afterward? And why would two sisters with no reported struggles, no health issues, and future plans decide to disappear in silence? No further information has been released by authorities. No new evidence has surfaced. As of now, Eliza and Henrietta Huszti's deaths are officially listed as non-criminal drownings. Their case remains closed, but not fully understood. Samantha Murphy was 51 years old. She lived in Ballarat East, a quiet suburb in Victoria, Australia. On the morning of February 4, 2024, she left her house just before 7 a.m. She told her family she was going for a run. Her route was supposed to be about 14 kilometers. She had done it before. She was familiar with the area. A security camera near her house recorded her walking out of her driveway. She was wearing black leggings and a maroon singlet. She had her phone and smartwatch with her. That was the last confirmed sighting of her. Samantha didn't return home. Her family waited for a few hours. She had planned to attend a brunch with relatives later that day. When she didn't show up, they became worried. They tried calling her. There was no answer. They contacted the police and reported her missing. A large search operation began. Police, emergency services, and hundreds of volunteers searched local parks, bushland, and trails. Drones and search dogs were used. Her phone stopped transmitting near the Mount Clear area, around 7 kilometers from her house. That location became the focus of the search. Days passed, but no trace of Samantha was found. Her disappearance didn't make sense. She was a mother of 3. She had no known enemies. She didn't have a reason to disappear voluntarily. Police kept searching, but still had no answers. After about a month of searching, detectives changed their approach. They began treating the case as suspicious. They believed something had happened to her near Mount Clear. They examined digital data from her phone and smartwatch. They also checked CCTV from nearby homes and roads. They started to quietly look into people who might be connected. On March 6, 2024, police arrested a 22-year-old man named Patrick Orrin Stevenson. He lived in Scottsburn, a rural area not far from Ballarat. He was charged with the murder of Samantha Murphy the next day. Police said they believe the murder happened on the same day Samantha disappeared. Patrick Stevenson is the son of a former AFL footballer. He did not have a clear connection to Samantha, at least not one that was made public. Police have not revealed how they linked him to the crime. They also did not say whether there was any motive, but they said they were confident in the evidence they had. Despite the arrest, Samantha's body was still missing. Search efforts continued, now focused on areas south of Ballarat. Officers combed through bushland, dams, and remote roads. Police asked local property owners to check sheds, water tanks, and paddocks. On May 29, 2024, two of Samantha's personal items were found in an area called Durham Lead. Her phone and wallet were recovered near an agricultural dam. The location was about 20 kilometers from her home. This confirmed that she had been in the area, but her remains were still not found. The discovery of the phone and wallet was a breakthrough. It supported the theory that she had met with foul play, but investigators did not say whether the items had any forensic evidence on them. Patrick Stevenson pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. His lawyers said he would fight the charges in court. The case is now moving toward trial, but a trial date has not been set. In the meantime, police are still hoping to recover Samantha's body. Forensic teams continued to search areas linked to Stevenson. They used ground-penetrating radar and cadaver dogs. Police divers also searched local dams. Investigators have remained quiet about what led them to suspect Stevenson. They have not revealed if Samantha and Patrick had ever met before the incident. The case received national attention in Australia. People across the country followed the investigation closely. Locals in Ballarat were shocked by the arrest. Many residents joined the ongoing searches, hoping to bring closure to the family. Samantha was well known in her community. She worked as a business owner and was active in local events. She had a husband and 3 children. Her family said they would not stop searching until she was brought home. Police have asked anyone with information about the case to come forward. They said even small details could help. They also urge people in the area to review any security footage from February 4, 2024. The investigation is still active. Police believe more information will come out during the trial. Until then, the case remains incomplete. A suspect has been charged. Evidence has been found. But the most important part, finding Samantha, still hasn't happened. The last known footage of her is clear. She is seen leaving for a run, dressed for exercise, not expecting anything unusual. Her phone tracked her heading southeast through Mount Clear. Then the signal stopped. That's where everything went quiet. Investigators have not released the full timeline of events. They continue to work behind the scenes. As of now, the arrest is based on evidence they have not made public, but the charges suggest that they believe there is enough to take it to court. This case is a reminder that even a routine morning run can turn into something tragic. It shows how digital data like phone pings and smartwatch logs can help trace someone's movements. And it shows how difficult it can be to solve a crime without a body. Samantha's family continues to wait. They've thanked the public for support. They've asked for privacy as they deal with the unknown. Police say they are committed to solving the case fully. For now, Samantha Murphy is still missing. But someone has been charged with her murder, and investigators believe the answers lie somewhere in the quiet hills outside Ballarat. A white Toyota Hilux, locked and abandoned on a remote Queensland property, inside a pink shirt, outside silence. For weeks the vehicle sat unnoticed, deep in bushland. There were no signs of a struggle, no reports of engine trouble, no clue as to why it was there until a landowner happened to check a remote part of his property in April 2025. That's when the investigation into the disappearance of 29-year-old Tyla Spies shifted from mystery to tragedy. Tyla Spies was a mother of 3 from Queensland, Australia. On February 2, 2025, she was seen driving through Surat, a small rural town in southern Queensland. She had spent the weekend in Dalby with her partner. According to police, she left Dalby in her white 2017 Toyota Hilux utility vehicle and was believed to be heading toward Rockhampton, where she lived. CCTV showed Taylor passing through Surat around 11:10 in the morning. It was a normal sighting. She appeared alone. She was wearing a pink shirt. After that, there were no confirmed sightings, no calls, no social media activity. Her phone went silent. From that moment on, no one heard from her again. When Taylor failed to arrive at her destination and couldn't be contacted, her family grew concerned. A missing person report was filed. Police launched a search, but the challenge was immediate. There was no clear starting point. Her route covered long stretches of rural land, dirt roads, and remote properties. Early search efforts focused on areas between Surat, Dalby, and Rockhampton, but days passed, then weeks. The case gained media attention. Her family made public appeals for help. Authorities asked the public to check dashcam footage and report anything unusual. Still, nothing emerged. The vehicle remained unlocated and there were no bank transactions or phone activity to help narrow down the search. Then on April 3rd, 2 months after Taylor was last seen, a landowner discovered a white Toyota Hilux parked deep inside his property at Noorndu, about 40 kilometers northeast of Surat. The ute was locked. It wasn't visible from the road. Inside were personal belongings. Taylor's pink shirt was among them. The following day, on April 4th, human remains were discovered approximately 1 kilometer from the vehicle. Forensic testing was conducted immediately. On April 6th, Taylor's sister, Rebecca Spies, confirmed the family's worst fears. The remains belonged to Taylor. There was no evidence of a crash, no obvious mechanical failure. The phone was also missing. Detective Chief Inspector Gary Watts confirmed that Taylor's partner was the last person known to have seen her. He also stated that the vehicle's location had been difficult to detect due to the size and layout of the land. Police had conducted aerial searches, but the ute had been concealed by trees. The discovery raised further questions. Why was the vehicle left locked and hidden? Why were her belongings still inside? And how did Taylor end up a kilometer away from it? The vehicle and surrounding area were examined. Remains were carefully documented and collected. Police did not immediately comment on the condition of the remains or whether foul play was suspected. Taylor's family issued a statement thanking the public for their support. They asked for privacy and said they were devastated but relieved to have closure after 63 days of searching. Her sister described Taylor as a loved daughter, sister, and mother who would be deeply missed. As of now, the Queensland Police Service has not confirmed a cause of death. They have not released details about injuries, time of death, or toxicology results. The investigation remains open. No arrests have been made. No persons of interest have been named publicly. Police have asked anyone with information to come forward, especially those who may have seen the Hilux or Taylor in the Surat area on or after February 2nd. The disappearance of Tyla Spies remains one of the most unsettling missing persons cases in recent Queensland history. There were no confirmed sightings after her last appearance on CCTV, no calls for help, no signs of a vehicle breakdown, and no trace of her until weeks later, far off the road in a locked car on land she had no known connection to. Why she ended up there, how she left the vehicle, and what happened in her final hours remains unknown. Police are continuing their investigation. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-933-3000. Michael Gaine was a 56-year-old man living in Kenmare, County Kerry, Ireland. He was known to be quiet, reserved, and dependable. A sheep farmer by trade, Michael lived a peaceful life with his wife Janice in the rural area surrounding the town. He had no known enemies, no criminal record, and no history of sudden or unexplained absences. On March 20th, 2025, Michael disappeared, and since that morning, no trace of him has been found. At approximately 9:45 a.m. that day, Michael entered the Centra supermarket located on Henry Street in Kenmare. He was alone. CCTV footage captured him purchasing a sandwich and topping up credit on his mobile phone. The footage clearly shows him wearing a black fleece, blue jeans, and a bright orange woolly hat. He carried a plastic shopping bag in his hand. There was nothing unusual about his behavior. He appeared calm and moved without any signs of distress. At 9:48 a.m., CCTV captured Michael leaving the shop. This remains the last confirmed sighting of him. After exiting the shop, Michael returned to his car, a bronze Toyota Ray V4, registration 152KY366. He drove away from the town center and was believed to have headed toward his farm in Carrick East, a rural area not far from his home. His vehicle was later discovered parked in the yard of the farm. Inside the vehicle, police found his mobile phone and his wallet, but there was no sign of Michael. He never returned home that day. When his wife Janice realized he was missing, she reported it to the authorities. A missing person report was officially filed the next morning. Garda immediately began an investigation. Given Michael's age, routine lifestyle, and the sudden nature of his disappearance, it was treated as a high-priority case. Investigators initially hoped that he may have walked off and become disoriented, but as hours passed without contact and with his personal belongings left behind, the situation grew more serious. A full-scale search was launched. An incident coordination room was set up at Killarney Garda Station. Within days, the operation had grown into one of the largest search efforts for a missing adult in modern Irish history. Agencies involved included Guard, the Defence Forces, Civil Defence from both Kerry and Cork Kerry Mountain Rescue, the Irish Coast Guard, the Garda Water Unit, and multiple search and rescue dog teams. Over 200 civilian volunteers also assisted. The search area included Michael's 1,000-acre farmland and the surrounding terrain. The region features open fields, hills, forested areas, streams, and the River Finnehay. Searches were conducted by foot helicopter and drone. Divers scoured rivers and water bodies in the region. Dogs covered ground inaccessible to vehicles, and volunteers moved systematically through areas near roads, fences, and outbuildings. During the ground search of his farmland, a makeshift camp was discovered. Inside were various items, food, articles of clothing, and what authorities described as weapons. At the time, Guard did not publicly confirm whether this camp was connected to Michael Gaine or whether it had been placed there by someone else. The contents were collected and reviewed. No conclusive link to the missing man was established. Simultaneously, Guard reviewed surveillance footage from surrounding areas. Over 1,500 hours of CCTV and dashcam footage were analyzed. Local businesses and homeowners were contacted. Drivers were asked to submit footage from dashcams if they had traveled on the N71 between Kenmare and Malls Gap or the R568 between Kenmare and Sneem between March 20th and 21st. Investigators followed up on leads from across the region. A total of 230 formal inquiries were logged. Over 100 people were interviewed, but there were no confirmed sightings of Michael after he left the Centra supermarket. His bank accounts showed no activity after that morning. His mobile phone found in the vehicle had not been used again. No purchases, no ATM withdrawals, no travel bookings. There was no evidence of him contacting anyone and no digital trace of his movement. Despite the large-scale coordinated effort, the case stalled. Weeks passed. The search operation, though scaled back, continued. Guard kept the case open and confirmed that all potential leads would continue to be followed. The public was encouraged to remain alert and report anything unusual they might notice in the area. As time passed, Guard continued to appeal for information. Flyers were posted around the area. The case received coverage in national and regional news, yet no further confirmed evidence of Michael's whereabouts came to light. The farm where Michael's vehicle was found had no signs of a struggle. Michael's routine did not suggest he would have chosen to disappear. According to those who knew him, he had not spoken of any desire to leave. He had no major financial problems, no history of mental illness, and no prior unexplained absences. Investigators could find no indication that he had planned to travel or leave the country. The absence of even the smallest clue led authorities to keep all possibilities open. These included the chance that he had wandered into the countryside and become lost, had an accident in a remote area, or encountered someone during or after the drive to the farm. Foul play was not ruled out, but no suspects were named publicly. The investigation remains open and ongoing. As of now, Michael Gaine remains missing. No body has been recovered. No items belonging to him have been located, and no one has come forward with reliable, confirmed information. The case remains one of Ireland's most baffling modern missing persons investigations. Anyone with information is asked to contact Killarney Garda Station at 064-667-1160 or the Garda Confidential line at 1-800-666-111. No detail is too small. Taree Olsen was 53 years old when she went missing. She lived in Toowoomba, a city in Queensland, Australia. On the night of February 16, 2022, she was last seen at a 7-Eleven store on Bridge Street in Toowoomba. Security camera footage from the petrol station showed her there around 1 a.m. on February 17. She had stopped to refuel her silver 2004 Mazda hatchback. The registration number was 456DC8. CCTV also showed her speaking briefly with another driver. It looked like a normal stop, but people who saw the footage later said she looked upset. She seemed agitated during the interaction. Before arriving at the petrol station, Taree had been in a minor traffic incident. Details of that event haven't been fully released, but it's believed the situation may have contributed to her distressed state. After leaving the 7-Eleven, she drove her car out toward a rural area. Her vehicle was found abandoned later that day. It had been left on Gittins Road in Whitcott. That's about 20 minutes from the petrol station. The road is a rough, four-wheel drive track. It's not a place someone usually ends up unless they know the area well. Her car was found empty. Her phone, wallet, toiletries, and other belongings were discovered nearby. Police said nothing looked stolen. It seemed like she had left the car willingly, but then vanished. The location where the car was found raised concerns. It was remote, difficult to access, and had limited phone reception. Police and local search crews launched a large operation. They used drones, tracking dogs, and SES volunteers. The area was searched for days, but there was no sign of Taree. Her family said her disappearance was completely out of character. She was described as quiet and gentle. She had no history of going missing or any mental health concerns that might have explained what happened. She didn't leave a note. No messages were sent to family or friends. Investigators began piecing together her last known movements. They reviewed CCTV from businesses and homes near the petrol station and along the roads leading toward Whitcott. They tried to track her phone's last signal, but after leaving Toowoomba, the trail went cold. Police made a public appeal for help. They specifically asked to speak with the driver of a red ute that was seen in the area around the time of her disappearance. The ute was seen near Green Gully Road, not far from where her car was found. It was believed that the person driving it might have seen something or even spoken to her. As of now, that person has not been identified. The community response was strong. Locals joined the search. Flyers were posted across the region. Her photo was circulated in news reports, but nothing turned up. No one reported seeing her walking or getting into another vehicle. No new sightings came in. Over time, active searches stopped, but the investigation remained open. Police kept the case classified as a missing person, not a crime. But privately, they admitted that foul play could not be ruled out. In 2024, nearly 2 years after she vanished, a coronial investigation was announced. This is a formal legal process in Australia used to examine unexplained deaths or disappearances. The coroner's job is to determine what likely happened and whether anyone may be responsible. This step usually means authorities believe the person is no longer alive. During the preparation for the inquest, investigators again reviewed all the evidence. This included CCTV footage, mobile phone data, search logs, and witness statements. But no new major breakthroughs were reported. The CCTV from the petrol station remains the most significant piece of evidence. In the footage, Taree seems stressed. Her conversation with the other driver is brief and not aggressive, but she doesn't look calm. The footage supports the idea that something was already wrong before she left Toowoomba. There's no footage of her after she drove away, and there's no record of her car being followed. Police have not confirmed whether there were any fingerprints or unusual signs inside the car. They have not released many details, possibly to protect the integrity of the investigation. As of now, Taree Maree Olsen has been missing for more than 2 years. Her family still hopes for answers. Police continue to ask for help from the public, especially anyone who was near Withcott or Green Gully Road in the early hours of February 17, 2022. The area where she vanished is rugged and full of bushland. If she became lost or injured, it's possible she was never found simply due to the landscape. But without more evidence, it's also possible someone else was involved. This case remains unsolved. Taree was last seen on camera, then her car was found on a rough dirt track, and then nothing. They were seen filling a tank, running down a quiet street, stepping into a store, or walking home. Cameras caught their faces, moments we thought would be ordinary. But after those final images, they were never seen again. In a world where everything leaves a trace, some stories just stop. No goodbyes, no explanations, only the haunting question: how can someone disappear right in front of us?